Welcome back, Officer Public Correspondent Police Chief APGAINS. It must be Monday for you because today it is Sunday for me, the only day that I am home literally during the week and can record videos. Today I want to talk about something that's hitting close to home for me, and that is, does Kyber mean anything to anyone anymore? Now, the reason I say this is because through the process of developing the cube, because it's the only thing that I do these days besides work and spend time with my loved ones who don't cherish me enough, unfortunately. And people have been winning more and reporting to me over the last couple of months, and I think this is because of the whole squish thing that changed, that it seems kind of like a joke for most of Kyber. And by most, I mean up until like mid to high Kyber 2 and parts of lower Kyber 1. What I mean by a joke is that, and yes, I get it, right now it's 3v3, and most people, myself included, don't really participate super heavily in 3v3, which is leading to a lot of people being a lower rank than they probably should if it was always 5v5 and they were always participating, yada, yada, yada. We all get that. But an epidemic from 5 to 2.5 of people not playing large amounts of GACs. And I know that for players who participate in said activities, you are more likely to come across people who also participate in said activities. But even for players who have reported being incredibly diligent and alert about their GAC performance, an increasing number of people show up who probably shouldn't. And I think this comes in two varieties. I think the first and most shocking variety, for myself at least, is the reverse of what we've dealt with since the inception of money-based matchmaking. Since money-based matchmaking, since the switch happened, it's mostly been the biggest driver of people not enjoying GAC hasn't been datacrons or anything like that, because those are widely thrown out by most of the community pretty early on, but rather the super big account that falls due to lack of playing. And, you know, you can do a GAC, but you couldn't possibly win even if they tried. Like, even if they barely tried, you know, you couldn't win just because of the massive GP difference. And it's not super common for people who are in that Kyber area. Like, most of my GAC opponents since money-based matchmaking started have been millions and millions of GP more than me with more GLs. Since GL is not really the meta, and haven't been for a while, it hasn't really been a problem, but the people who should be up there kind of trickle down, and that's the problem that happened for most people. But now we're getting kind of the reverse of that, and I don't know for certain, because it's not something I've really investigated. I haven't really delved into the numbers, but it seems from my own experience and the experience of others who have rightfully climbed into Kyber when they probably shouldn't be there. Maybe they feel like imposters because the cube's just helping them so much. Ha! A shameless plug. Click the link in the description, download, or join the Patreon exclusive Discord to use the cube and help build your roster, blah, blah, blah. Oh, big updates coming soon, by the way. I just ripped my headphones out of my head. But myself and others have reported that there seems to be Kyber imposters everywhere. But what I mean by that is accounts that probably shouldn't be there. Not for lack of skill, that's not what I'm saying, but lack of size. Accounts going up against serious Kyber players with multi-million GP advantages. And this is what I always imagined CG envisioned for the bounce back, right? You're a really good player, you have a great roster, you climb probably higher than you should. Eventually you find a bunch of people who are just so much better than you, and then they beat you the fuck out of you, and you bounce back to wherever you're supposed to be. The problem is it seems like this bounce back period is either consistently hitting good players, where they're just constantly getting inundated with opponents that suck, and they're never running out of these opponents. These opponents are not losing enough skill points, or whatever the fuck it's called, to go back down to an appropriate level, or some mysterious third alternative where something happens that if I probably remembered what I said 10 seconds ago, I could probably elaborate. The point I'm trying to make is that there seems to be, for myself and others, a lot of players who are out of their depth, or the skill rating system is not evenly applied across people. I don't know if there's some sort of shadow puppet secret police that's, punishing people who are maybe not as prone to full clears or something like that, and just kind of flooding them with endless amounts of pointless, easy matchups. There's not enough players at a high enough level to fill out Kyber the way it should, which is probably more realistic, or reversing this big skill squish thing many months ago, or maybe even over a year ago at this point, that so many people were upset about, has caused the floodgates to open, and the game is not doing a very good job of sorting people within the divisions of Kyber based on how powerful they truly are. Something CG I could definitely help you with. We've come up with quite a beautiful and robust way to quantify how good a roster is. You guys could contribute just a little bit in the terms of figuring out how skill works, and you could give someone an appropriate rating. I think that would be great. But that being said, I don't know. I hate to break it to you, but I only appear one day a week on Sundays, because Sunday is the day that I actually am home, where I can have access to a computer, and I kind of just talk about the thing that's been most commonly asked towards me during the week. And just so happens that people have been kind of confused as to what has happened to Kyber 5 through 2.75, or 2.15. You know what I'm saying. Most of Kyber 2 as well. And I seriously don't know. I'm hoping that eventually CG will add some sort of higher tier than Kyber. I think the divisions as is are too broad, and the system that they use for skill points or skill rating, or what it's called, has been kind of dumb and continues to not really work super great. For example, you'll see people, if you look at whatever your skill rating is, you'll see people with higher skill ratings where it makes absolutely no sense. And while some percentage of how high you climb comes down to how good you actually are, I hate to break it to you, but in Kyber 5, 4, 3, it's not incredibly the case. Most of it is roster. A lot of it is effort. And I think they're just not doing a very good job of parsing roster and effort. And it's creating the opposite of what everyone else suffers. Everyone else seems to be suffering matchups that are unwinnable if the other person tries. And some people up in Kyber are experiencing matchups that are unlosable, even if you don't try that hard. I don't know what the solution is. I'm hoping for maybe something above Kyber. You can split up the top of the game a little bit more, maybe even add a couple more mid-level divisions, because I have long hoped for an era where you can actually face a worthy opponent that isn't in the top 500 of Kyber 1. I'm going back into hibernation for a week. People keep asking me why I'm only home one day a week. I don't live at my house anymore. I live off-site at a more convenient location for business. And it's not feasible to record or stream 99% of the time. Working on a solution. Have not figured one out yet. When I do, you'll see more of me. That being said, as always, I love you. And I'll see you later. Bye-bye.